Okay, I'm going to try to teach you how to read music if you're a violin player. I will do my best to keep this iPhone steady. I can't promise anything, so if you start to get a little dizzy, I apologize. So first of all, in music, we have right here what's called a treble clef. This tells me I'm playing the violin or a flute or other instruments that are higher instruments. For this video, it's for violin, so this is your treble clef. Next to it, I have 4/4 time. That means there's 4 beats in a measure, and your quarter note gets 1 beat. Don't worry about that right now. That's rhythm. We're just talking about note heads and stems. The note head is very, very important in order to read music. So if you notice, I'm going to click on the first line of music. Music has 5 lines and 4 spaces. This is the first line. This note is the second line. This note is the third line. This note is the fourth line. This note is on the fifth line. Then I have 4 spaces. This note is on the first space. This note is on the second space. This note is on the third space. And finally, there is my 4th space. Now, when reading music, especially for violin, you need to know this note. The second line is super important. That note is a G. And the reason I need to know that is because treble clef right over here, this is a G clef. So this note, if I travel along this line, it cuts right through that G clef. And that line right here is a G. That happens to be 3 on D. So if you just memorize this is a 3 on D, you can figure out every single note you need. So let's figure out our open strings first. So right here in between on this chord, see there's 3 notes, so we call that a chord. In between this note right here on the second space, that's open A. Now if I go 2 spaces higher, I have an open E. Now if I go back to that open A and drop 2 spaces, I have an open D. And then if I drop 2 spaces below that open D, I have an open G. So now I can go through and figure out every single note I need. Here's open G, here's 1 on G, here's 2 on G, here's 3 on G. Why do I know this? Because I start from the lowest and I go up 1 note, I go up another note, and I go up another note. It goes space, line, space, line. As the notes go higher in the staff, you also go higher in your fingers. So this is open, then I add a finger 1, I add a finger 2, I add a finger 3. Now this note is G. So this note is called A, this note is called B, and this note is called C. Now I can continue on my alphabet, G, A, B, C. The next note is D. Now I'm in the open D string area. This is open D. So this is a 1 on D. I'm going higher. This is a high 2 on D. The reason I know it's high 2 is because there's the sharp sign. This hashtag next to it. Oops, I highlighted the whole measure. This hashtag next to this note makes it an F sharp, which is a high 2. And then we have a 3 on D, excuse me. So we have open D, 1 on D, high 2 on D, and then my cursor's being silly today, 3 on D. So that's open D, E, F sharp, and G. So that's your D string. Now we move to the A string. This is your A. Notice it's on space 2. It's the space above that special note G. Remember, this is the treble clef. The line that goes through it is a G, so this note above has to be A, and you might be asking yourself, why does A come after G? In the musical alphabet, A always comes after G. There are no other notes. There's no H, I, J, etc. So whenever we run out of notes after a G, we call the next note an A. So here's an A. Here's a 1. Oops, my cursor's being silly today. Here's a 1 on A. Here's a 2 on A. Here's a 3 on A. Now what kind of 2 is that? There's no sharp sign next to it. So this is a low 2 on the A string. So let's figure out our letter names. That's an A. That's a B. That's a C natural. No sharp sign next to it, so I can't call it C sharp. Then I have a D. So A string open, 1, 2, and 3. Now we go to E string. Here's your open E. Why is this an E? Because this note was a D. So here's your open E. Here's a 1 on E because it has a sharp sign. If there was no hashtag here, it would be a low 1. So you have to be careful. If you see a hashtag, which is a sharp, that makes it regular 1, not low 1. Now right here, this G does not have a sharp sign next to it, so it's a low 2 on the E string. And then we go to a 3 on the E string, and finally a 4 on the E string. So the letter names are E, F sharp, G natural, because there's no sharp sign, A, and B. And that's how to read music. I hope that helped you. Have a nice day.